Perhaps you've noticed that I haven't been making many videos, putting out much content. My recommendation would be to follow the videos that I place in the Post-Combustion Intel drop and subscribe to those channels, like those channels. I have no affiliation with any of those channels at this point. So I'm not sponsored by anyone to say this. I'm not selling you anything yet. We're already being mass marketed to and mass manipulated on a scale that is unimaginable. The complexity that goes into algorithms for swipe and scroll, as well as YouTube, are the same that are used in gambling. And now they have AI to help optimize those psychological tactics that you may not be aware of unless you're aware. The best information may not come from me, but I'm sourcing the best information that is credible, reliable, and I feel helpful to others who want to design a future that is not a waste culture. Or if it is, then we redefine waste, which there's going to be a lot of redefining terms in the future, redefining work, redefining what artificial intelligence is and isn't. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about credibility. How do we evaluate the criteria? What criteria do we use to evaluate the outputs of information? And what is the proof of work and sourcing of that information to know that your answer is not a hallucination if using AI, and you were evaluated when prompting to make sure that you put in a efficient prompt? How do we analyze the data and know if it's accurate or not? And I mean, this also applies to any type. You could universally template this information for, credibility of anything if you're a systems thinker and a creative. I don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to waste your time. I thought I would provide a change of scenery. I do some 3D printing in this area and have many ongoing projects and curiosities, devices that I'm in the process of working with. And I thought that it was it'd be nice for a change of scenery. I'm surrounded by a couple of 3D printers, a Bambu Mini A1 and then a Bambu A1. We can talk about 3D printing for a minute. For $200, it's a really cool hobby. It's actually an amazing piece of technology for you to access at that price point. And the performance levels are impressive, need to say the less. You can go over to Micro Center and grab a big Bambu. So let's talk about 3D printing. I grew up in the age of pre-COVID 3D printing with Creality, Creality, Creality 3D printers. And you had to assemble these 3D printers yourself. I believe I had the Ender 2 was my first one because I could get it for like less than $199. I think pre-COVID they dropped to like $169. And I mean, it performed, but it was slowed. It was loud. My wife complained about it being on the dining room table, that it was driving her crazy. And eventually I put quieter fans, quieter motherboard, and it was so silent I would have to go check on it to make sure that it was running. And back then we had to like optimize our 3D printers with Raspberry Pis to enable being able to print from your phone, and but there was a great experience in learning how to put 3D printers together, because then I was excellent at troubleshooting, because Lord knows if you're a Creality Ender 3 user, then you know what I'm talking about. They are problematic if you run them hard. They're work machines, but they do require maintenance. The nozzles will clog. You're constantly changing nozzles. You're buying filament like a junkie. You couldn't just pick it up at Micro Center back in those days. You had to wait for it to arrive. I particularly like E-Sun filament. I don't have enough good things to say, and if you want to sponsor me and send me any amount of filament, I like the E-Sun PLA Pro. I don't care what color, but black would be preferable. And I'm not sponsored by them to say that. I still use E-Sun PLA Pro. My understanding is it's sustainable, it is eco-friendly, it breaks down, it's biodegradable. Your kid can chew on it, your dog can chew on it. It's made from generally a corn base or soy base or plant-based polymer versus it doesn't degas. It smells sweet, surprisingly, versus the Micro Center's inland 3D printing filament. Well, I don't have enough good things to say about inland 3D printing filament, especially since it's illegal in the state of California to sell, but in Texas they send a lot of that shit. So for a while I was buying this inland 3D printing filament because there's a Micro Center near me, and it turns out that the shit degasses and causes cancer because it's not made from sustainable products. While I haven't written an in-depth report to about this micro sensor, you're probably going to be looking at some class action lawsuits in the future, and I will happily take part, as there, it's hidden in the fine print that it shouldn't be used. Well, this is one of these government slippery regulatory loopholes. In California, they've already figured it out that it's bad, so they banned it. So then they just move it to a state where it hasn't been banned and regulated in yet, and it's the legacy corporations playing the same old shell game. It really irritates me. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't perform as good. It's not as strong. I was using PLA Plus and PLA, and don't really have anything good to say about Inland objectively, other than you could buy it at Micro Center that day if you were desperate and needed filament for a project that you are working on. Outside of that, E-Sun, I'm happy to become a promotional spokesman. Please reach out, send me a message. I'm easily reached on LinkedIn or here at YouTube. Shoot me a Gmail, DM me, or whatever the kids are doing these days. Don't call, I don't answer my phone. Send me a text message. With that being said, is there anything else that we should cover? Do I need to make more material for your brain to try to comprehend? I feel like AI hasn't made things easier, it's made things harder. I'll give you an example. Okay, now on LinkedIn, I'm getting what my daughter has now cued me in on, is called spamming. 50% more outreach by solicitors for effing franchising versus real people looking to connect about real issues or with real opportunities, who aren't just trying to sell me something. And we're getting to an age where the younger generation is going to have a larger market share, and they're going to dictate the market, and they don't like that type of advertising. Those companies are dinosaurs, man. Like, why do you even need advertising? I can only speak for myself, but I personally dig for the best tools. I go to my trusted resources, and those are the people that I subscribe to, that I put their videos in the Post-Combustion Intel drop, that are on this channel, that are specifically on this channel in this playlist. So just go to this playlist. The other playlist, my mouth is dry. The other playlist I created, Vibes, is to help you vibe. I vibe on many of those particular videos. I throw YouTube on in the background a lot. I do have a premium subscription so that there's no advertisements. That's the different paradigm today. I pay so that I'm not spammed by advertisements. So I would say AI increased 50% more spam and solicitations in my LinkedIn messaging, therefore becoming less effective as a true career consulting connection tool. And like, now again, I have to evaluate who is contacting me and what they're trying to sell me, rather than, oh, you're reaching out because you read one of my articles and you can understand that We need to, talk about waste, or talk about water, or talk about sustainable systems, talk about building and designing with nature, talk about like really outside the box. Like, it's funny. I'm right now working on a lot of projects where we can build everything and put everything in a shipping container. It's just the most easily way to transport hardware and infrastructure, especially Bitcoin miners. There's some solar companies. There's some companies doing some great work in this area, and I'm investigating it as well. While the shipping containers are very ugly, like, it's literally the paradigm. Like, you are born, you're put in a crib, it's a box. You live in a house, it's a box. You go to work, it's a building, it's a box. You have an office, it's a box. You die, they put you in a box. So I would love to see the future have some creative housing ideas, which I have some. And if no one else wants to do it, then I'm happy and crazy enough to champion that problem. There's no shortage of champions, gentlemen and ladies, to pick up a cause and try to solve that problem. And, don't worry about the money. Don't do it for the money. As I sit here with a Bitcoin shirt on, I'm not advocating anyone buy Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin at this juncture, but I think that it is underestimated and undervalued and underutilized for all the properties that it actually, and opportunities that it actually represents. I don't want to go too long just freestyling. Nate, I don't know his last name, Nate B, whoever, he does a great job of, like, that dude just doesn't care, man. Like, he is dropping knowledge. Nate, props to you, bro. If you watch one of my videos, like, I have a lot of respect, because you break down some really complex AI systems and keep me well informed and in the loop. And we often align and are sharing some similar thought patterns at the time. It's kind of what would be the word, validating that. I'm like, oh, I was just talking about this with somebody else, and then now Nate B has made a video about it, and it is trending, and he's really going into detail about an unbiased kind of, a lot of there's so much bias built in, and we're biased, judgmental creatures. Even if we want to pretend that we don't judge, we're making these judgments all the time to stay alive, I feel like, on some level. You need some self-awareness helps, and I don't feel like judging others is a healthy, because we often judge ourselves the hardest. So I feel like at this point I may be rambling, sleep deprived, and definitely have a dry mouth and could use a cold beer. So I'll wrap this up by saying, it doesn't have to be a lie if they believe it. George Costanza. And we're out.